What if the secret to transformation wasn't about doing more, but about creating space to simply be? March's worm moon is a reminder that change often begins beneath the surface, just like earthworms quietly enrich the soil, preparing the ground for what's next. In this full moon yoga flow, we'll focus on grounding, releasing, and making space both in our bodies and in our lives. March's full moon is called the worm moon to celebrate the earthworms that spring to life as winter ends. These small but powerful creatures help bring water and air to the soil, spreading nutrients that support new growth, helping crops grow, and providing the food that sustains us. Just like earth awakens beneath our feet and earthworms enrich the soil, we too can nourish ourselves, body, mind, and spirit, through breath, movement, and reflection. This practice is about grounding, releasing what no longer serves us, and preparing our inner soil so that when spring comes, we can move forward with clarity and ease. During the full moon, we may feel more restless or emotional, like the energy is out of balance. Yoga helps by calming the mind, grounding the body, releasing tension, and creating space for clarity and release. Through breath and movement, we can find balance and stillness within. As we move, imagine yourself rooted in rich, fertile earth, softening, releasing what you no longer need, and making space for new growth. Let's flow with the rhythm of the moon and embrace this moment together. Are you ready? Find a quiet space where you can move freely. A yoga mat is great but optional. Blocks and an extra blanket are helpful but aren't necessary. Set up in a way that feels cozy and supportive for you. As we move through this practice, remember to listen to your body, respect your body's limits, and honor what feels best for you today. This practice is adaptable and is here to support you. So if a pose doesn't feel right, feel free to ease up, modify it, or skip it. Now enjoy your practice. Welcome to Natora Yoga. My name is Gigi and I'm happy to be your guide through today's yoga practice. Let's settle in. Sit cross-legged on your mat in easy seat. To reduce strain on your knees and your lower back, place a folded blanket or block under your sitting bones to help elevate your hips. Ground down and feel the support of the surface beneath you. Evenly distribute your weight across both of your sitting bones. Lengthen your spine. Allow your shoulders to relax down and away from your ears. Keep your hands resting comfortably on your thighs with the palms facing down. To help turn your attention inward, soften your gaze at a point in front of you, or gently close your eyes. Bring your awareness to your breath. Breathe at a pace that feels comfortable for you right now. Notice the natural rhythm of your inhalations and exhalations without trying to control it. Now I invite you to bring both hands to your heart, or bring one hand to your heart and the other to your belly. And feel the gentle rhythm of your heartbeat. Let's take 3 deep breaths together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. On the next breath, gently release your hands down and open up your eyes. Let's begin by warming up the body, then we'll explore some gentle stretches and grounding movements. Beginning with our neck circles, drop your chin towards your chest. Inhale, circle your head to the right. Exhale, gently circle left. Inhale, circle your head to the right. Exhale, left. Inhale, right. Exhale, left. Pause at center and reverse the direction of your circle. Inhale your circle to the left. Exhale, right. Inhale, left. Exhale, right. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Pause at center and lift your chin from your chest. Moving on to our shoulder rolls. Inhale your shoulders up. Exhale your shoulders back and down. Inhale your shoulders up. Exhale back and down. Inhale your shoulders up. Exhale back and down. Pause at center and reverse the direction of your shoulder rolls. Inhale your shoulders back and up. Exhale forward and down. Inhale back and up. Exhale forward and down. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Pause at center and relax your shoulders away from your ears. Now turn your body to face the front of your mat or the top of your mat. You can keep your blanket or your block underneath of your sitting bones. Extend your legs out in front of you. You can keep a slight bend in your knees and flex your toes towards your shins to protect your knees. If you have blocks, you can bring them close to you. Moving into our seated forward fold. Inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge at your hips and lead with your chest as you fold over your legs, keeping your spine long. Bringing your hands onto the mat, onto blocks, or onto your shins or ankles. And breathe deeply here into the stretch. You might feel it in your legs. Inhale your arms up overhead, spine long. Exhale, bring your hands down to the mat. Moving into bound angle pose. Bring your feet flat, bend your knees. Bring the soles of your feet to touch. Allow your knees to fall open. You can bring your feet as close to your body or as far from your body as feels comfortable. Lengthen your spine. You can stay here or you can hinge at your hips to fold over your legs, placing your hands onto blocks, onto the mat, or onto your feet. Breathe deeply. Inhale to lift. Bring your knees together. Bring your feet flat. You can set your blocks off to the side. And if you were sitting on a block or a blanket, you can set it out to the side as well. And transition onto your hands and knees for table pose, bringing your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your knees. And from table pose, bring your big toes to touch. Take your knees wide and sit your hips back and down for child's pose, keeping your arms extended out in front of you and rest your forehead on the mat. Child's pose is available to you as an option whenever you need to catch your breath, rest, or exit out of a pose. Let's take a couple more deep breaths. Inhale to lift your head and walk your hands to the right long side of your mat, reaching your left arm over your right. Keep both of your sitting bones grounded and rest your forehead on the mat. You might feel a side body stretch on your left side. Breathe deeply into the stretch, keeping both of your sitting bones grounded. Inhale to lift your head and walk your hands to the left long side of your mat, reaching your right hand over your left. Rest your forehead on the mat. Breathe deeply. And you might feel a stretch along your right side body. Keep both of your sitting bones grounded. Inhale to lift your head. Bring your arms back to center. Rest your forehead on the mat for a breath. And press in your hands to lift your hips back up into table pose, bringing your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your knees. Moving into our cat-cow to waken up the spine. Tuck your toes. Drop your belly, lift your tailbone, lift your gaze for cow pose. Exhale, push the mat away from you, round your spine, tilt your tailbone down. Cat pose. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your tailbone, lift your gaze for cow pose. Exhale, push the mat away from you, round your spine and tilt your tailbone down. One more inhale for cow pose. Exhale for cat pose. Inhale your spine back to neutral, table pose. From here, moving into our flow. Beginning on our left side, inhale your left leg long. Exhale, bring your left knee in towards your chest. Step your left foot forward between your hands. You can come onto your fingertips, or you can bring your hands to blocks on the lowest setting. Press down through your feet, engage your leg muscles. Draw your navel to your spine to lift your upper body. Clasp your hands and place them on top of your left thigh. Both of your hips are facing forward. Draw your navel to your spine to engage your core. Send your tailbone down. You can stay here or inhale your arms up overhead for low lunge. Inhale. Exhale, bring your hands back down to the mat or onto your blocks. Press down through your feet. Engage your leg muscles. Lift your back knee from the mat for runner's lunge. Maintain the engagement of your legs. Slightly lift your back kneecap. Draw your navel to your spine to engage your core. Bring your hands and interlace them and place them on top of your left thigh. And gently push down on your thigh as you lift your upper body. And you can inhale your arms up overhead for crescent lunge. If you need to, you can straighten your legs a little bit and bend your front knee, stacking your knee over your ankle. Option to keep a slight bend in your back leg if you need it. Hips are facing forward, drawing your navel to your spine to engage your core. Inhale. Exhale. Bring your hands onto your hips. Turn your back foot so it is parallel to the back of your mat. And turn both of your feet so that your heels are inward and your feet are pointing towards the corners of your mat. Bend your knees and sit your hips down. Drawing your navel to your spine to engage your core, send your tailbone down, working to open up your knees. You can bring your hands together at heart center for goddess pose. And breathe deeply here. You might feel an activation in your glutes and your thighs, quads. Inhale to straighten your legs. Turn your back foot so that it is parallel to the back of your mat. Turn your front foot so it's pointing towards the top of your mat. Bend your front knee so it's stacked over your ankle. Open your arms out into a T shape for warrior two. Gaze past your front fingers. And in warrior two, our shoulders are stacked over our hips. Breathe deeply. Inhale to flip your front palm and reach your left palm up and back as you bring your right hand onto the back of your right thigh or onto your hip for peaceful warrior. Inhale to warrior two. And from here, cartwheel your arms onto the mat or onto blocks, framing your front foot, coming onto the ball of your back foot. Runner's lunge. From here, drop your back knee onto the mat and step your left foot back. Bring your big toes to touch. Take your knees wide and sit your hips back and down to rest in child's pose. And take a couple of deep breaths here. Press into your hands to lift your hips back up. Bringing your shoulders over wrists, hips over your knees. And let's do that flow again on the other side. Inhale to extend your right leg long. Exhale, bring your right knee in towards your chest. Step your right foot forward between your hands, coming onto your fingertips or blocks on the lowest setting. You can stay here or press down through your feet, engaging your leg muscles, drawing your navel to your spine to engage your core as you lift your upper body. Clasp your hands and place them on top of your right thigh. Hips are facing forward. Breathe deeply. You can stay here or inhale your arms up overhead for low lunge. Inhale. Exhale, bring your hands back down to the mat or onto your blocks. Press down through your feet, engage your leg muscles. Lift your back knee from the mat to come into runner's lunge. Keep your legs active. Press down through your feet, drawing your navel to your spine. Begin to interlace your fingers and place them on top of your right thigh. Gently press down and lift your upper body. You can inhale your arms up overhead for crescent lunge. If you need to, you can straighten both of your legs just a little bit and settle back down into crescent lunge, stacking your front knee over your ankle. Breathe deeply. Bring your hands onto your hips. Turn your back foot so that it is parallel to the back of your mat. Turn your front foot. Bring both of your feet so that your heels are in and your toes are pointing towards the corners of your mat. Sit your hips down. Send your tailbone down. Draw your navel to your spine as you bend at your knees. Opening at your knees. Breathing deeply for goddess pose. Inhale to straighten your legs. Turn your back foot so that it's parallel to the back of your mat. Turn your front foot so that it's pointing to the top of the mat. Bend your front knee so it's stacking over your ankle. Keep your shoulders stacked over your hips as you open your arms out into a T shape for warrior two. Gaze past your front fingers. Breathe deeply. Flip your front palm and reach your right hand up and back as you bring your left hand onto the back of your left thigh or onto your hip for peaceful warrior. Inhale back to warrior two. And cartwheel your arms down to the mat, framing your front foot, coming onto the ball of your left foot, runner's lunge. Gently bring your knee down to the mat and step your right foot back. Bring your big toes to touch. Take your knees wide and sit your hips back and down to rest in child's pose for a moment. Press into your hands, lift your hips up to table pose, stacking your shoulders over wrists, hips over your knees. Press into your hands, engage your arm muscles, draw your navel to your spine to engage your core. Tuck your toes and lift your hips up and back for downward facing dog. And in downward facing dog, you can keep your knees bent as much as you need. You also have the option of walking your dog by extending one heel towards the ground and bending the opposite knee and switching sides. And come back to a bent knee downward facing dog. Inhale to gaze forward. And exhale, take small baby steps towards the top of your mat with bent knees. And once you arrive at the top of your mat, bring your feet hips distance apart or wider. Hinge at your hips as you fold over your legs, dropping your head, neck, and chest. From forward fold, inhale to straighten your legs. Bring your hands onto your shins or onto blocks for halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Drop your head, neck, and chest. Press into your feet. Use the strength of your legs and core as you slowly roll up to stand, one vertebra at a time. Inhale your arms up overhead for extended mountain pose. Exhale, release your hands down through heart center and by your sides with the palms facing forward for mountain pose. Take a deep breath in and out. And from mountain pose, let's transition to tree pose. I'm going to face forward so you can see. Ground down through both of your feet. You can bring your hands onto your hips. Shift your weight onto your right standing leg. You can keep a slight bend in your knee. Bend your left leg. Kickstand your toes to the earth and bring the sole of your left foot onto your right ankle. You can stay here or you can bring your hands together at heart center. Tree pose. And imagine sending your roots down, staying strong in your foundation, drawing your navel to your spine to engage your core and maintain balance and stability. Inhale. Exhale, release your hands down and release your foot. And you can shake out your standing leg. And let's switch to the other side. Ground down through both of your feet. You can bring your hands onto your hips. Shift your weight onto your left standing leg. You can keep a slight bend in your knee. Bend your right knee. Kickstand your toes into the earth, bringing the sole of your right foot onto your left ankle. Lengthen your spine, drawing your navel to your spine to engage your core. You can bring your hands together at heart center. Gaze forward, breathing deeply. Strong in your foundation, sending your roots down into the earth, where the earthworms enrich the soil and create the conditions for new growth. Breathe deeply. Release your hands, release your leg. You can shake it out. And meet me at the top of your mat in mountain pose. From mountain pose, inhale your arms up overhead for extended mountain pose. Bend your knees, hinge at your hips as you fold forward through center. Drop your head, neck, and chest, forward fold. From forward fold, inhale to straighten your legs as much as feels comfortable. Bring your hands onto your shins or onto blocks for halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold, drop your head, neck, and chest. Plant your hands, step your right foot back, bring your knee down, and step your left foot back. Come back into child's pose by bringing your big toes to touch. Take your knees wide and sit your hips back and down. Take a moment of rest. Press into your hands as you inhale to lift your hips back up. Bringing your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your knees. Swing your legs out to the right and sit your hips back down to the left as you extend your legs out in front of you. Sit towards the center of your mat. Bring your feet flat, your knees bent. Bring your hands onto the backs of your thighs as you slowly roll onto your back, one vertebra at a time. And once you're laying on your back, you can bring your arms by your sides and walk your heels in until your knees are stacked over your ankles. Open your arms out into a T shape, moving into our supine spinal twist. Press into your feet to shift your hips to the left ever so slightly, and allow both of your knees to fall to the right. You can gaze up ahead, or you can turn your head to gaze towards the left, or close your eyes. Breathing deeply, keeping both of your shoulder blades grounded onto the mat. Inhale to lift your head back to center. Allow your top leg to come up and your bottom leg to follow. Shift both of your hips to center and press into your feet to shift your hips slightly to the right, and allow both of your knees to fall to the left. Keep both of your shoulder blades grounded. Gaze up ahead or turn your head to gaze towards the right. You may gently close your eyes as you breathe deeply into this twist. Inhale to lift your head back to center. Allow your top leg to come up and your bottom leg to follow. Shift hips to center. And I invite you to hug both of your knees in towards your chest. If it feels good, you can gently rock side to side to get a massage on your lower back. And come back to center and release your legs. Extend your arms and legs long and wide, taking up space on the mat. Moving into Shavasana, our final relaxation. I invite you to soften your gaze or gently close your eyes if they're not closed already. Feel the support of the surface beneath you. Allow your feet to fall naturally to the sides. Allow your palms to face the sky. Relax your shoulders down and away from your ears. Relax your neck, your jaw, the muscles in your face, including your brows, your forehead, and your eyes. Allow your entire body to feel relaxed and heavy. And let's take a couple of moments of silence as we breathe and completely surrender. Allow the earth to support you. Begin to deepen your breath. Gently wiggle your fingers and toes to reawaken your body. If it feels good, you can stretch your arms up overhead and your legs long to get a nice full body stretch. Then bend your knees, bring your feet flat. Shift your hips so that you can roll over onto your favorite side in the fetal position, using your bottom arm as a pillow. And taking a moment here to savor this sense of spaciousness and groundedness that we have created in our practice today. And press into your top hand as you lift your upper body back up into a comfortable seated position, keeping your eyes closed or lowered as you sit back upright. And bring your awareness back to your breath. Like earthworms that enrich the soil beneath us, we are reminded that transformation often happens quietly beneath the surface. As we close, let's take a moment to reflect. What are you ready to release? Old habits, thoughts, or tensions that no longer serve you? And as you let go, what would you like to make space for? New energy, new opportunities, new growth. Let the full moon's light illuminate what you are ready to release and the space you are creating for what's to come. I offer you this affirmation that you can say quietly to yourself or out loud. I am grounded. I release what no longer serves me. And I make space for new growth. Take a moment to send gratitude and love to yourself for showing up today, for moving your body, breathing deeply, and giving yourself care. Bring both hands to your heart, or bring one hand to your heart and the other to your belly. Feel the gentle rhythm of your heartbeat. Let's take 3 deep breaths together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Whenever you're ready, gently release your hands and open your eyes. Bring your awareness back to your surroundings. Thank you for showing up today and sharing this practice with me. The full moon brings a lot of energy. Sometimes it's illuminating, sometimes it feels overwhelming. In our practice today, we softened, released, and created space. Just as the earthworms tend to the soil beneath our feet, we nourish ourselves by tending into our inner world. May you carry this sense of grounding with you off the mat and into your life. Namaste. If you enjoyed this yoga practice, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share this class with someone who could benefit. I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and share how you're feeling after today's class, or if something here resonated with you. Take good care of yourself, each other, and our planet. I hope you'll join me on the mat again soon.